Veggie Tales. Big Idea's most popular series yet follows the adventures of Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber along with all their veggie pals as they retell Bible stories and teach biblical lessons from the Bible, with also sprinkling a little bit of pop culture and humor that every family and kid can enjoy. Now this series has been going on for a lot of decades now, and no one never really knows the history behind it. In fact, VeggieTales has the most troublesome history I've ever heard in my life. How did it got to here? Well, let's start in 1992. This time we're following a man by the name of Phil Vischer. Yes, that is his name, Phil Vischer. And Phil had a dream. He wanted to teach kids about the difference between right and wrong by using God's messages and lessons from the Bible. How is he going to do that, you may ask? Well, it's all thanks to his friend, Mike Naraki. Yes, that is also his name. Mike and Phil have been working for quite some time now doing college films. And Mike was working on something called Princess and the Pea. Both of them were working on Princess and the Pea, an adaptation. But in 1993, they released their first ever film or episode of Veggie Tales called "Where's God When I'm Scared?" I know these titles are going to get ridiculous as the video goes on. Trust me on that. Lisa Vischer, Phil's wife, did the voice of Junior, while Kurt Heinecke did the music and composed the score. They also introduced a segment in VeggieTales called Silly Songs with Larry, which was actually based on a segment in Monty Python, and now it's time for something completely different, which Phil really admires. Originally, the silly songs weren't going to be in every episode. It was just going to be in one episode, and then there was going to be another Monty Python skit. But after backlash in 1994's God Wants Me to Forgive Them, these titles are getting worse and worse. But it's ridiculous in the way. Anyways, after that, they decided to do a silly song in every episode after 1995's Are You My Neighbor with the hairbrush song. And the rest was history. And the company was growing and growing each day and year. Phil hired more people to work on Veggie Tales. Chris Olsen, Mike Sage, Jim Poole, Ron Smith, Joseph Foolish. They hired everybody to work on this show, and the episodes just keep on getting better and better. You name it. Rack Shack and Benny, Dave and the Giant Pickle, Madam Blueberry, and one of my favorite ones, Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space. These videos are getting better and better, and people will keep on praising them. Kids and families were buying them all over the family Christian bookstores. And it was no surprise that in 1999, right after the premiere of Larry Boy and the Rumor Weed at Universal Studios Hard Rock Live, Phil wanted to make a movie.
Hi there, I'm Phil Vischer, the founder of Big Idea Productions. When we made the very first VeggieTales video 7 years ago, there were only 3 of us working out of a small storefront on the north side of Chicago with no heat. We had no idea what we were doing. We just wanted to tell stories that could help teach kids great values from the Bible in a fun new way. Now, 7 years later, we've sold more than 20 million VeggieTales videos, and we've been joined by artists from some of the world's greatest animation studios, eager to use their gifts to help make the world a better place. Now, making VeggieTales videos is a lot of fun, but there's something I've wanted to do since I was 9 years old: make movies. So I'm thrilled to tell you today that Big Idea is now in production on our very first theatrical feature film. I can't tell you any more than that, but you'll find out more about it on our next VeggieTales video, Lyle the Kindly Viking. Sunday morning values, Saturday morning fun. Now coming to a theater near you.
Starting in 2001, Big Idea was starting to create their first animated feature film. But they didn't really have the money for it, and they're not really a big company. So Phil decided to create not one, not two, but 3 different VeggieTale or Big Idea themed projects that might save the company for Jonah and make a little money for Jonah. That being 3-2-1 Penguins, Larry Boy the Cartoon Adventures, and VeggieTales Live. 3-2-1 Penguins started in 2000, and while the series still has the biblical morals like VeggieTales, it wasn't really doing that good. Larry Boy the Cartoon Adventures was a different story. Many parents and adults think that, and fans of the show, think it was too cheap. And it only aired 3 episodes or 4 episodes before it got canceled. And VeggieTales Live toured from show to show to show, but instead of using the money for Jonah, they would take that and use it for the next show. So things were going really good for Big Idea. But Phil had to try even harder. They knew they have to release the film to oversave the company. It even got worse, because before the movie came out, Phil had to hire people from Jimmy Neutron from Nickelodeon and Ice Age from Blue Sky Animation Studios to do the final lining for the film. That's how bad the situation was. And after all of that, after all the stress they've done, did it pay off? Well, no. You see, after Jonah released in theaters, there was a $1 million lawsuit that was headed their way. In 2001/2002, the same year that Jonah was being scheduled to release, Lyric Studios, VeggieTales VHS distribution company, outside of the Christian market, was just bought out by Hit Entertainment, a studio that loves to buy out stuff from various companies to make it their own, to have a dumbed down kids fee. You might know them from Bob the Builder and Thomas the Tank Engine. Big Idea, thinking that Bob and Larry wouldn't fit in, decided to switch from Lyric to Warner Brothers Home Video. That made Lyric Studios very angry. And the whole entire Lyric Studios distribution debacle ended with a lawsuit in 2003. And as a result, Phil Vischer lost every single rights to VeggieTales. He had to sell them all to Classic Media, aka DreamWorks. So starting in 2004, Phil would take a back seat for a while, only writing two episodes a year and only doing voice work for his characters. And as for the later episodes, they were okay. The episodes after Jonah were actually really well, I think. Lord of the Beans, Wizard of Oz, Sherlock Holmes. But the rest of them, like A Snoodle's Tale, Sumo of the Opera, Duke and the Great Pie War, they're not really my favorites. They're not really everyone's favorites. And it went downhill from there. In 2008, they released The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, a VeggieTales movie. And that one failed a lot more. Failed even worse, actually. It didn't even make a lot of money. And thus, VeggieTales went more downhill from there. It's like a downward spiral. An unpopular hit to an unpopular hit. Sweet Pea Beauty, Pistachio, A Meaningful Life, The Princess and the Pop Star, Robin Good, League of Incredible Vegetables, cheap cash-ins are cash-in on other stuff. It's not doing it for it anymore. And that leads us to Get That Thing Away From Me. Besides that show, In 2019, they decided to revive the VeggieTales brand with the VeggieTales show, which was a tribute to the Muppet Show, and they also got Phil Vischer back to direct it. With Mike Naraki, Kurt, and Lisa back, VeggieTales can continue to make more stories. They got fired by Universal Studios, the new distributor of the VeggieTales brand. Last year, a Larry Boy movie was announced to be released in 2026, only to be canceled this year. I'm done with this franchise. And there it is, guys. A VeggieTales in a nutshell. This series has gone downhill like SpongeBob and everything else that's going on with this world. And it's just corporate greed and just people are just trying to just bank on VeggieTales by firing the original creators and making projects only to cancel them after. But anyways, guys, that's it. This video took a long time to make, so please respect the work that was put in this video. And I'll see you guys next time. Later, guys.